Hello, my name is Graham Wirtz, and I'm 22 years old. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I I recently had went to a place called Teen Challenge in Lansing, Michigan. Um, it's a 13-month faith-based recovery program where people come in with life-controlling issues, drugs and alcohol, gambling, anything that's life-controlling. And I personally had a drug issue. Um, I grew up in Dayton with a really good family. I went to all the Kettering schools here, and getting into middle school and high school, I started smoking weed, and then later on led to just drinking, partying with friends, and next thing you know, I'm at the club, snorting Molly or eating ecstasy, and really just led me down a path of destruction. You could say I started taking things that wasn't mine. I was stealing from people, or spending money that wasn't mine. Nobody could trust me. My family couldn't trust me. My mother and father were very disappointed in the things that I was doing, and so it was probably a Sunday afternoon or a Sunday morning. My parents were going to church, and they heard about a gentleman that would be speaking at a church about a place called Teen Challenge, and they heard it was a rehabilitation program. They knew what I was doing, so they went and heard his testimony about how God had changed his life, and at this time they've been going to church. My parents are also believers as well, so when they went and heard his testimony and he talked about Teen Challenge, they went up to him after the service and told him that I needed this, their son needed this, and so he gave them contact information. I've been in and out of courts for a little while. I was dealing with a court issue. I picked up a drug charge at the University of Dayton, and I was going to court dealing with that. I was on probation, and so they came home and told me about Teen Challenge and said, Graham, you have an option to either leave this house or go to a place called Teen Challenge, and they told me about it. And it took me a couple weeks. I was still getting high. I still wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to give up that life because I felt so comfortable in it, you know. And so it took me about 3 weeks. I called Pastor Matt Hoskins, who is the men's director at Lansing Teen Challenge, which he was the worship leader before, and I got in contact with him and told him I wanted to come, and so he had opened up a bed for me, and wasn't too much longer after that I headed up to Lansing Teen Challenge in Lansing, Michigan. Ever since I've been there, my life has changed completely. I'm not who I used to be. I do not do drugs anymore. I don't use tobacco. I don't drink. I believe that God wants your body completely cleansed of all poisons or anything that can harm you. Our bodies are holy temples, and so I had set all of that sin and weight aside, and I have overcome by Jesus Christ. God has changed my life. He is now the center point of everything that I do and think of. You know, I'm not perfect, and I never will be perfect, but I know that if I can live every day according to as Jesus lived, or at least try to, I know that I can stay in the will of God, and everything will work out for my good. Ever since everything has happened, and I accepted Christ into my life, I have my family back. They trust me. They trust me with money. I mean, it's unbelievable the change that can happen to somebody after they received God in their life. Today is Easter Sunday. It's April 20th, and we are celebrating the resurrection of Christ, and we went to church this morning, and there was a lot of unbelievers at church, but you know, I believe that God can heal and touch anybody that believes and receives Him. I just pray that that as a worship leader, God has gifted me to play music, and I'm now a worship leader for the kingdom and not for the world. Um, I believe that through worship, people can be healed and sanctified through Christ. Um, God is powerful and He's real, and our lives will never be the same if you commit your life to Jesus Christ. He is unfailing, unchanging. He stays the same. He is and will be the risen King. Thank you for watching.